Welcome to episode 21 of 5DT Time. I'm your co-host, Kristen with
Lindsay love.
right. Like 5 months of recording these every week. What an adventure.
Ooh, an adventure.
Which is our theme today.
Yes, exactly.
Just the importance of adventure and of momentum and keeping the spirit excited about life and keeping the mind kind of open and changing the channel and getting new perspectives and angles, changing the vantage point and how just like important for Lindsay and I both that is. I mean, can I reveal your astrological sun sign?
Oh, please do. Yes.
She's Sag Sun, I'm Sag Moon, and we have that kind of zest and adventuresome spirit, both of us. And of course, we articulate it in different ways, what like feeds us and propels us. But yeah, Lindsay, like, what are your fun ways of keeping the momentum on the adventure of life for you?
Ooh. Well, the word that's coming up is yes. Hell
Mm,
yes, heaven yes. Um, just saying yes to life. Just for me, I love to travel, so that's a huge one. I think ongoing learning too, this idea of just growth and wanting to know more, the curiosity of life. Those are always adventures for me, meeting new people, exploring new places. Um, I feel like maybe I was an explorer in a past life or something because, gosh, there's nothing quite like going to a new place and learning about the culture and learning about the food and um, seeing, just seeing what it has to offer, all the natural beauty, whether it's ocean or mountains or desert or the flora and the fauna and the ecosystems. That's all so fascinating for me. So yeah, adventure. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but um, adventure can be so many things. Like it can be exploration of a new creative endeavor or an entrepreneurial endeavor or so many things to so many different people. But for me, I would say travel, yeah, is a huge one. And studying cultural anthropology and um, in college and learning about new cultures, that was always accompanied with travel. And I just, yeah, that like that lights my fire. So yeah, saying yes to new adventure is the way. How
mm.
about you, Kristen? What is adventure for you?
It's like different things in different phases of life. Right now, kind of like adventure for me is going into these like private, like personal healing sessions. It feels pretty adventurous, both to receive and to give. It's like, whoa, what am I going to discover today based on, well, a lot of times just I don't even know what my intention is until I quiet my mind enough to feel. It's like, oh yeah, there's a catch that I've been experiencing. Like, let's go in and excavate that, like dig that one up and see what memories come and what emotions are attached to it. And like for me, that has been super adventurous because it's been taking me back into like the timeline of my life where I'm doing so much like retrieval of parts of myself that I've philosophically or have mentally thought about. And I've been like, oh, done a lot of self-forgiveness processing, but I haven't actually gone into the emotional like imprint of it. So to go into the more subconscious layers has been so adventurous.
Wow.
It's been very
That's
cool.
really cool.
It's pretty cool. It's like traveling inside of the timeline of my life.
Mm.
And yeah, that's been a wildly cool journey. So right now, that's adventure to me. That's one way adventure's happening is, and it's all, and it is a new landscape for me because I am like learning this new technique. So I'm practicing this new technique and I'm receiving this new technique as a part of the training. So, like you said, one of the first things you listed was like, personal growth and like saying yes to personal growth trainings or coaching sessions, or yeah, just continuing to deepen your knowledge of yourself. Yeah, this is a result of saying yes to a training. It's been, yeah, that's one aspect that's been wildly adventurous.
Mm. And then the word that's coming up now is discovery. So how that's coupled with adventure, right? So when we say yes to adventure, there's like so much opportunity for discovery of not only ourselves and what lies within that may have been hidden or unknown to us until this moment of adventure, but also discovery about new lands and new species and new colors and new foods and new languages and new ways of existing in the world, and new love and new relationships and new people. So um and yeah, about ourselves, like ultimately I feel like the adventure brings us, no matter what the adventure looks like, it's a path of self-discovery.
Mhm.
And so I think that's why I seek adventure. Ultimately, I want to say yes to adventure, because every time I go for an adventure, no matter if, like you said, it's a course or learning something new or something self growth, or if it's a travel or learning a new language or exploring a new topic of interest, it ultimately helps me to develop myself further, but learn and discover about myself. And that growth that comes, those new discoveries are always so exciting and so beautiful. And then the next new thing comes in for the next adventure and next step of self-growth and self-discovery. And I think ultimately how this like relates to the 5D is that the more we learn about ourselves, the more we discover about ourselves, the more we grow and explore and expand, the more we move into kind of that 5D consciousness, in a way, that 5D way of being.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of opens up new neural pathways, and like there's this sense of like expansion that is kind of a quality of fifth dimensional living. It's like coming out of like a cage, and it's like open growth. um there's a spirit to adventure. It's like an adventurous spirit. There's an attitude to it, having that like open attitude even when the going gets tough. It's like, well, COVID hit the whole world, and it was, I know some people's positions were much more challenging than others. In that everybody had different realities that were, different functions in society that were handling this thing, and, in different ways, whether you're medical or a teacher or a parent, or, people had a lot of different, but it's like, did the, attitude of adventure come into it, and like what were those days like, when there was more of an adventurous spirit about that, you know because it was completely out of everyone's control. It was just kind of like happening. And um, or did you succumb to the forces of misadventure? But it is, I think, like adventurousness is an attitude and a spirit, an approach to life that does create, like, opens up opportunities and expansions, even if like there's catches and bumps and weird things going on the path. It's like, oh, we're on the adventure of life. So this isn't the end point. We just got to figure this one out. And um, yeah, I think it keeps a creative spirit afloat, which is a quality, definitely a fifth dimension.
Yeah, I love that because it doesn't have to be like this grand thing of, oh, I'm traveling across the world for the next year or whatever. Adventure doesn't have to be just that. It can be an attitude, a mindset, a concept of it's going to be fun, it's exciting, it's new. And I love when you brought in the concept of COVID because that was such a fearful time that was really out of so many people's control, but there were different ways to approach it. And of course, there's a spectrum that we're all going to experience because it was riddled with fear and challenge and struggle, but there was also, some elements of beauty and excitement and self-discovery in there. And ultimately, um, I think I think that's the ultimate like transformation. If we can go through it, if we find ourselves in a mindset of fear or out of control or um yeah, just kind of terrified of the unknown, how can we transform our mindset into one of adventure or just having fun, the excitement of life? Like the unknown is exciting rather than scary. And that's a tricky thing because the mind can sometimes yeah, kind of take us down the darker side of things or in the more fearful state. But if we can transform the thinking into like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen here, or I have no control of this outcome, but there's an excitement to it, and God's got this at
Mhm,
the end of it, you know God's got me, God's got this.
mhm. 100%, 100%. I mean, that field of love is around us always, even if like life circumstances around us are wrought with an energy, a frequency that's not that, there is that field that's always there if we can just stay attuned to it or remember to tune into it. And that field is love, and it does have us. Like that field of love is God, and that intelligence is holding us. It is so it's just like allowing, for that to come in. Yeah, I mean, even like, yeah, just to go back to like therapy sessions, or I led a meditation today, and it's like that was so adventurous because what I was nervous, I had
Mhm.
like stage fright, I had, like showing up anxiety, because it's like, oh, we wanted to go well for ourselves, we wanted to go well for everyone else around us, and we wanted to be the intention of love to be realized. um, so, but then at the end, it's like, well, you know, there's a surrender piece to that, just like saying yes to the adventure, showing up to the moment in the way that, our previous self signed us up for. And because our previous self like had an intuition, had an instinct, and it knew that that was the correct thing to do. So now we're like at the moment of actually showing up and like having to do the thing that like we said yes to a while back. And then it's like, okay, surrender. It's like surrender to that love, to that field, and allowing the adventure to kind of have its way with you. I let the adventure have its way with me, the channel of the higher self to just flow. And then it's like, okay, we did the thing. Like that was great. No big deal. But it does give an energy, a vitality, because like a stagnation was released. If I would have suppressed the instinct, if I would have suppressed the intuition, that would have been like damming up the life force. That would have been like blocking the flow of life that is wanting to like move me forward. It's a small example, but like a world travel event too. It's like you have the instinct to do it. And if you don't like follow through with that, like what? You're blocking the movement of life that's wanting to have its way with you. And then what? Then I think there's more like there's 3D, then you're kind of like stuck, stuck more dimensionalized in a more stagnant energy, a more dense
Mm,
mental, emotional, physical, spiritual energy. What do you think
yeah.
about
Oh, yeah. It's so true. It's so true that stuck energy is, yeah, you're right. The saying yes and then trusting that, because there's anticipation, right? That comes in. It's like the yes, and then the 3 weeks until you do the meditation, or the 3 weeks until you get on the plane, or the 3 weeks until whatever happens, and so there's that timing in between that, so much the mind can create stories around of, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? How's it going to go? Is it going to go great? Is it going to go bad? And the mind can just really take hold. So trusting that there was a yes said,
it?
feeling all the feels in the really uncomfortable anticipation moment, and then, just doing it. Don't worry, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, just do it and trust the process, trust the outcome, give it to God, whatever the saying, or whatever we have to tell ourselves to get us to take the step to actually show up. But don't worry, just do it was one of my favorite quotes from like all the coaching courses and stuff that I did. Don't worry, just do it, and I'm getting ready to go on a big trip myself, and it's like the same thing. I'm saying that in my mind, like, don't worry, just do it. Don't worry, just do it. Just show up, just get on the plane. And
Mhm.
the other thing that comes to mind, and I know we've mentioned this before, is like baby steps. When things are like, when the anticipation's getting to be a lot, or there's like nerves involved with things, it's like, okay, just baby step, like baby step here, baby step there, baby step, get on the plane, baby step, get off the plane, whatever that looks like. So if we break it down into smaller steps, it doesn't feel so overwhelming, like the bigger picture of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a sense of like, also like, I mean, I guess, our past self said yes. And like the moment we're following through with that and managing like the layers of fear that kind of we have to kind of bushwhack through to like do the thing. And then it's like the future self, like, we hear people on their deathbed, they never regret the things that they did.
Mm,
Like they
mhm,
never regret the adventures that they sought out. It's like the things that they didn't do, that they held back on, that they repressed and like didn't say I love you and didn't confess like that they were in love with this person their whole life, didn't ever say it, or and then that they take that with them. It's like an adventure can be telling someone you love them. Like that's
mm,
the adventurous spirit, like writing a letter to an old friend, giving an apology to someone that you've harbored guilt about for so long. It's like that's adventure. It's just like these things. It's like adventure and action. Like action is adventurous, and it can be big things, and it can be adventure is kind of big, no matter like what it is. Like what spirit's asking us to do. Like what our intuition, what our instinct is like asking of us. Um, I think that, yeah, the responsiveness to life is adventurous. Like it really is an adventure. It's like a perspective switch, like a turning on of just the multidimensionality and the multifacetedness of life is quite adventurous. Like injuries are adventurous.
yeah.
If you have the right mind, illness is adventurous. Like when I got COVID, I was like, I'm going in and I'm going to use this thing that's inside of me, and I'm gonna have it clean my system out. And then it did. And I use this like, okay, COVID, if you're gonna use me and you're gonna put me through this like sweat mess, like I'm gonna use you to, you
Yeah.
know, remove my caffeine addiction. So I did. Like, there's got to be an exchange here because, like, you know, so I use that COVID.
Thanks, COVID.
I mean, seriously, I was so grateful to it because I don't know
Yeah.
if I fully ended my relationship with caffeine if COVID hadn't come in. So it was a
Mhm.
beneficiary. And
Yeah.
I think Adventurous Spirit does have a way of seeing the benefit out of things. It's not Pollyanna. I mean, like, you're going through the shit pile, but it's, you know, but you're going to extract the freaking gold needle out of it. You know, like, I'm using that. I'm going to use that to like further and, you know, weave this life, you know, thread this life together. So I think it's an attitude, you know, no matter what, yeah, what it is.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because it can be the biggest or the smallest thing, but the word adventure has that empower, like it has power behind it.
Mhm.
There's power behind it. There's adventure, you know.
Mhm.
Um, it's empowering to take life like take life as an adventure. I think that's one of the most empowering ways to live ultimately. It's like, okay, we're doing cancer. All right, let's do it. This is the next adventure. Or, you know, we're like doing COVID, or we're doing meditation, or we're moving, like we're traveling across the world, or, you know, like writing somebody a letter, like you said, that you've wanted to apologize to forever, or something of that nature. So no matter what, it just it can be two different things. It can be complete fear, paralyzed in your tracks, or okay, this is what's on my plate and I'm going to use it to the best of my ability, and I'm going to just explore it and maybe not have fun with it, maybe have fun with it, but make it an adventure. Make it an exploration. Like, oh, I've never done this before.
Mhm.
This is an experience that I'm having, that life wanted me to have.
Exactly.
So,
Life wanted me to have. It's like the spirit of life.
mhm. Yeah, because we can't control those things, you know, like you can't control that you got COVID, and I can't, like, you know, getting cancer. You can't control those things necessarily, but you can control how you respond to them.
Yeah.
And you can use them as a gift and gain a benefit from them. Or, you know, they can take you, they can, they can really take you down.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Adventuresome, adventurous spirit. I feel like being a human on the, like, this is a pretty big adventure here on planet Earth, like in a body. Like, this is a pretty happening place. If you haven't noticed, like, there's a lot of things going on. You
yeah,
know, there's a lot of contrast. I mean, there's like the depth of sorrow and despair, and there's like the most glorious beauty, you know, um, available, and like everything in between. I mean, this is a big adventure here. It's a
yeah,
big party here on planet Earth. So, uh, yeah, putting on the adventure cap, and or the hiking, whatever your adventure tool is, like, what's your like power tool? Is it like the walking stick, or is it the hat, or the cape, or the
ooh, a
pirate
cape, I
patch?
like that.
Yeah, like,
Did
but
you just say an eye patch?
the pirate patch, yeah. I don't know. Like, what's your like
That's
little like
perfect. Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah,
adventure?
what is your tool, like what is indicative of adventure for you? Is there like an anchor? We call it an anchor. Like what, yeah, what reminds you of adventure? You know, maybe it's a bracelet or something that's
Yeah,
like, oh, I love adventure, or life is adventure, or a tattoo on your arm, or whatever that looks like. But
good old like, I don't know, new shoes that feel good on your feet. You know, make you feel
mhm.
good while you're making the walk. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so gather your tools and say yes to the adventure of life, everybody. Because spirit's working through all of us like so uniquely. And the more we're responsive to that, the more life will continue to open.
Mm.
So, um, Lindsay, I'm so excited for you. And I'm excited for me at this phase in our life where we are saying yes to things that feel so like our movements of our heart and soul. And yeah, we can't go wrong when we do that. There's just such a trust and like faith in that is unwavering, unshakable, because it's evolving us, it's moving us in the direction that we know is the river of life is moving us. Like no stopping it. So
Yeah, yeah, and just this element of trust, like surrender and trust. I think you might have mentioned surrender before, but yeah, the surrender and then the trust, the faith that it's all gonna work. It's you said yes and show up and it's all gonna work exactly as it should. So that trust and faith of life and the good thing is like recall for me to reflect on things that have happened before that I've done before in my life and then realize they always worked out.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think that's a huge one of like when it becomes scary or overwhelming,
yeah,
reflection
yeah,
of like, oh, I've said yes to something big before, or, I've said yes to adventure before and it's always worked out in my favor in the end. It's always worked out.
mhm. Beautiful.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, wishing you all a beautiful week ahead, and we'll see you again very soon.
Very soon. Much love.